You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 192. Today, guys, I thought I would share something with you that's a little bit different. This is an interview that I was on, where I was interviewed by another podcaster. Today, I'm going to share with you the conversation that I had with Gordon Brewer on his podcast, which is called The Practice of Therapy, where we went over kind of my big picture view of what it really takes to run a successful practice. I hope you enjoy it. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host. And as always, I'm excited to be hanging out with you today. One of the things that's happening behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see or hear as much about is that I am being interviewed more often these days on the programs and podcasts of other folks. And as I'm doing that as a podcaster, I also am trying to learn how to share that with you. It's a whole new skill, y'all. Like there's so many different little things about this that sound easy until you start to do it. And it's like, how do I do that? So as part of that progress and process on my part, I wanted to share with you today a conversation that I had with Gordon Brewer. Now, you may remember Gordon. I had him on my podcast on Ideal Practice back in the fall. He was on episode 160, I think, where we were talking about how to keep your practice running when life is really, really hard in the background, because he had gone through some really tough stuff and managed to keep a group practice running in spite of it. And that's what I wanted to hear from him about. That was a great conversation. Today, what I'm going to share with you is that he invited me to come on his show, which is called The Practice of Therapy. And he wanted to hear about my framework, my big picture view of what it takes to run a successful, sustainable, profitable, enjoyable practice that you're gonna want to stick with for the long haul. So that's what we're going to do today. Gordon is more focused and more efficient than I am, which means it's a quicker conversation than the kind I tend to have. And that's to your benefit, right? So we move fairly quickly through some big concepts, but I think we had a really great conversation about some of the sort of the sticking points where so many of us trip up over time. So without further ado, let's get into the interview.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really pleased and happy to have Wendy Pitts-Reeves on the show today with me. So, Wendy, as I start with everyone, tell folks a little more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed.
Thank you, Gordon. What a treat it is to be here with you. I really like us meeting like this frequently. This is a good idea. Yeah. So thank you. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in private practice for, 100 years or so. It seems like at this point. And I have a podcast called Ideal Practice, which you were kind enough to join me for a few weeks ago. I've been running that podcast now for 3.5 years or so with weekly episodes, just like you, trying to do my best to encourage and inspire folks out there who are either starting a private practice or have been in it for a while and have either kind of lost a little bit of the excitement or like they're doing fine, but they know they could do better. I want to do whatever I can to kind of help them raise the bar a little bit and have more fun with what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I know one of the things that you and I have in common, we're both in Tennessee and not too far from each other, but
go Vols.
Go Vols. Yeah. As we're recording this, they play Kentucky tomorrow. So I'm going to be having some friends over for that. So but, I digress. But Wendy, I know one of the things that you and I both are passionate about, and that is just helping people get started in private practice. And really, as I like to say about myself, I've learned a lot of stuff the hard way, and I don't like other people to do the same. But you've developed the seven pillars and just really kind of the basics, most essential things about starting a practice that you wish everybody knew. and
Yeah.
it's all the stuff that you help them with. So let's jump into that and just go for it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I've been coaching. I started, grew, and ran a group practice in Maryville, Tennessee, which we pronounce Maryville, just outside of Knoxville near the Smokies, and ran that practice for 25 or so years. And unofficially, I had been coaching all along, teaching people how to get their practice started when they joined my group. And when I began coaching officially, and I was thinking, like, what is it exactly that has made this work? Because our practice was the go-to practice in our town for all of that period of time. And what I eventually kind of settled on was that there's no one thing that's going to make your practice work. You really need to manage several bits of it well. And what it all kind of settles into for me, when I really, really thought about what had brought my success and those of so many people I've worked with, is that there are 7 key areas that I feel like you need to nail, not all at once, and over in different ways through the course of your practice, but you're going to be bumping into these one way or another. And so I thought what I would do today is just give you an introduction to that concept.
Right.
So does that sound good? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So those 7 pillars, I'll say them first, and then I'm going to tell you essentially what each of them means, because it's not always as obvious as you think. They are, number 1 is purpose. Number 2 are the people. Number 3 is the product that you serve. Number 4, process. Number 5, payment. That's a fun one. Number 6, promotion. And number 7, perspective. And let me tell you what I mean by each one of those. And Gordon, you just interrupt me if you want to ask a question or share some thoughts about one of these. So I start with purpose for a reason. This is because when you tap into your why you started a business at all, that's going to help pull you through the tough times, which you are going to have. And when this is nailed down and you are super crystal clear about what your purpose is, you will be able to say that you know why you do what you do, and you have a potent and powerful vision for the business that you are building. When you don't have that, you will find yourself a little detached or confused or sort of scrambled, sort of all over the place, as opposed to feeling energized and excited. And I don't just mean about the people you're serving. I also mean about, why do you want to be a business owner at all? Because that's important. This is not for the faint of heart. That's the first one. We start with our why. Number 2, people. And that is, I want you to serve the people that you love. Okay? Period. Just serve the ones you love. When you've got this nailed down, you will know your ideal client in and out. You will know them better than they know themselves. You'll know what drives them. You'll know what worries them, and you will know how to serve them. And this is important because often we know what our clients need more than they do, but how to sort of cross that gap from what they think they need to what we know they need, that takes skill, right?
Right.
And
right.
when you are working with your client that you absolutely, like you wake up in the morning and you look at your calendar for the day and you're like, oh, yay, I get to see them today. It's the best feeling in the world. And when you've got this figured out, you are going to go you'll move away from being sort of anxious, like, oh no, can I work with this person? Do I know what I'm doing here? To excited about the person in the waiting room that you're going out to say hi to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The third pillar that no one talks about, which I'm using the word product. Now, in our world, we tend to think our product is us, right? The service that we provide. But essentially what I want you to do is I want you to do you. And that means think of creative ways that you can serve your people at deeper, richer, wider levels. And there's so many ways to do this. When you've got this figured out, or you are sort of tweaking it over time, you will have an irresistible offer that provides your clients with the resources they need to get the results they most want.
Yes.
Through a service that it just works. It just works.
Yes, right.
Yeah?
It's really about communicating the transformation that people can go through.
Yes. And there's lots of ways to deliver that other than sitting in a room for an hour a week and talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got all kinds of examples of that, I know.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Oh,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So
the fourth pillar And we can go back through any of these, but it is I use the word process, and that is basically your systems. How do you run what you run? How do you do what you do? I'm always saying there's a system for that because I sort of think that way. I have a very strong one wing on the Enneagram. When you run a business, guys, like you will find yourself sort of creating things over and over and over. And in the beginning, you sort of scramble to figure out how to do what you're doing. But as your practice matures, what I want to see over time is I want you to develop habits, systems, and boundaries that make life easier for your team, if you have a team, for yourself as a business owner, and for your clients. And when you do that and as that improves and matures over time, you will find that your practice is more profitable because you're not wasting as much time and energy and resources reinventing the wheel, and it's more enjoyable. You won't be exhausted all the time. You'll be more organized. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's an important piece, I think, for, like you said, in the very beginning, to really be clear on, okay, what's the client's journey through your practice?
Yes.
And also,
yes,
how you're collecting the money, which I know you're going to get to that, but just all of those things.
Your client's journey is so important. That is a great way to sort of organize your systems. Like how do they find out about you in the beginning? Once they reach out for an inquiry, how do you process that? Mm-hmm. Once you get them in the door, how do you onboard them as a client? During the work itself, how do you stay in touch with them? How do you maintain it? And when it comes time to wrap up, how do you do that? And if you do this over and over and over with hundreds of clients, thousands over the years, the more systematic you can make that, the easier everything is for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I tend to harp on that a little.
Yeah, sure. I do too. Yeah. So
is there anything you want to say about any of the rest of this before I go on? Keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay.
Good.
I don't want to go too fast. The fifth pillar, and y'all, I have arranged all of these in this order on purpose because I kind of think you need to get one of these fixed before you do the next, and one of these before, like they build on each other.
Right.
So the fifth, which is a lot of it, this is where we tend to start, but I really think you need to get the other stuff figured out first. But that is payment or profit, if you like that word.
Right.
And essentially, like you have to do well to do any good at all. So when your payment systems, and I mean all the things around that, your policies, your pricing, all of that, when that is tight and effective, you will have a healthy pricing structure and a payment system that accurately reflects, this is important, the value of what you do, the results that you deliver. It's easy for your clients to manage, and it will bring you the desired salary. You do have a salary you want, right?
Right.
You do have a salary.
Yes.
So when you do this well, like the money will be there, and it comes in a way that works for your clients as well as you. Like there's no angst about it. We're all on board. We're all in agreement. The energy works because it comes from a place of integrity and alignment, and it builds on the other things I've already said, your purpose, who you serve, how you do it. Yeah.
Right. And we could, and I know we talked about this before we started recording, but we could go down a whole rabbit trail about money mindset and some of the things that I know therapists in particular struggle with, but that's for another time. So yeah,
it is. I really could talk about that all day. I harp on that a lot on Ideal Practice. And I do have a little offer for your listeners today, Gordon, that can help them with that if they're interested. Because you're right. The mindset is everything. And when I have taught about this in my own masterminds and courses, I will teach people the strategies behind it, but it's funny. That in the end isn't really what matters. It is the mindset and the way you think about all of this that is more important than anything. So
right.
The sixth pillar of these seven is promotion, because your people need you. And if they don't know you exist and they don't know how to find you, they're not going to be able to get the help that they need. So you have to find a way to get yourself out there. When you do this well, you will have a clear and compelling brand message, which I know is not something we talk about all the time. You will have identified specific marketing strategies that work for you, not 15 of them, one or two that really kind of work with who you are. They will be online and in real life. Okay. And they will be strategies that work with your particular strengths, and you are doing them. You are like implementing them. You're not sitting behind your desk waiting for the phone to ring or for someone to knock on your door.
Right. Right.
So promotion, like it or not. And if you don't learn how to find your way into this and get comfortable with this, the people you can really help are never going to find you. And that's sad for everybody. So,
right. It's, I'm always reminded of the movie Field of Dreams, build it and they will come, but you have to build it and then tell them about it. Then they will come.
And so you know this.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 therapists in Knoxville, right? Like, how do you, if someone's looking for you, how do they know you sound just like everybody else? How do I know who to call? Right. So it really is important.
And I will say, for folks that might not be familiar with this, really one of my go-to strategies around all of this, or a framework really, is the Story Brand framework by Donald Miller.
Yeah.
And you can look it up, and it's the Story Brand. He's got a book, Story Brand Marketing. And it's a good way to think about it. And I think I think for us that don't like the hard sell kind of stuff,
yes,
really thinking about his framework really helps with that.
And he's another Tennessee guy. I think he lives in Nashville now.
Yes.
Everybody's moving to Nashville. Yeah. That's such a great point, Gordon. I actually had someone on my show recently that our whole conversation was about how to use story. And we actually did not reference him, but you're right. That is a really good resource.
Right.
And even your personal story done well and done appropriately can really help connect with your ideal clients.
Right. Yeah.
So that's huge and important. And then the last pillar that wraps all of it, the cherry on top, is your perspective. And by that, I mean your mindset, because you can do all the right strategies and all the right tactics in the world, but if your mindset is wonky, you will self-sabotage every time. Mm-hmm. So when you are owning this and you are stepping into this fully with your own power, you will have this healthy abundance mindset, a success-oriented perspective, and you will move through your business being at cause. I used to have a coach who talked about being at cause. That means that you are claiming your power to be the creator of your own life and your business, which means if it's going great, it's because you're doing something great. And if it's not going great, it's because you've got an opportunity to fix something. Right. But you are at cause. Matt, that's all of it comes down to that. So
sure.
There you go.
Sure. Yeah. Those are great. I really love the way that you've kind of put that into almost like steps, but really just kind of a good framework to think about the different elements of running a private practice.
Yep.
One thing I would say, Wendy, and I'm sure you address this under kind of the money pillar or whatever, payment pillar, but in addition to paying yourself, is creating a safety net for yourself in terms of having money in reserve for those times when, your client load might go down or things might happen. I was talking with someone earlier today, for those of us that are have insurance-based practices, and that's a whole other decision people need to make, is whether they want to accept insurance or not.
Yeah.
There's no right answer to that, and it depends on a lot of different things. But back when the Change Healthcare thing happened with the clearinghouses, those of us that are insurance-based really took a big hit and really struggled during those periods. And the way my practice made it through was the fact that I had money in reserve.
You are really good at that.
Yeah. And so I think that's something to just have in mind, and really think also just, all of these things don't have to be done all at once.
Absolutely.
And so just thinking about doing it in small bites, and just one builds on the other. And as you grow, things are gonna change, and you're gonna, the processes will change, and all of those things.
Absolutely. When we learn as we go, right? And we mostly learn when things go wrong. We figure stuff out, right?
Right.
You and I both have been at this for a while. And when you came on my program and you were telling your backstory, like, I was really impressed with the way you did that in terms of setting money aside to have that safety net. You did better than I'm used to hearing, actually. I wish I had known that when I started my practice. What I see as a coach all the time is people will tell me, oh, I've got great pricing and I'm fine with money. I'm good with it. And then when I start really digging in, so tell me, like, how many clients do you have at what rate, and how many, and even if you've got an insurance-based practice, whatever. And what I find is that their pricing is all over the map, and that the energy that they approach it is so uncomfortable. So to me, money is a therapeutic issue every bit as much as anything else we talk about in the therapy world. Right. And because we are either underpricing and feeling guilty, or we're fine, our pricing is good, but we are apologetic when we talk about it. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, but my rates are this, which is completely undermining and undervaluing the importance of the work that client is doing.
Yeah.
Or we avoid the hard conversations, like they owe you and they haven't paid, which is making my discomfort their discomfort, because I guarantee you they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So learning how to bring that into the room, just like you do anything else in that relationship, I feel like that's one of the hardest things for people to learn, and one of the most important.
Right. And the truth is that the majority of our clients want to pay us.
Yes.
And kind of to your point, Wendy, I think it's important to recognize your value and the fact that you're offering something that in many cases is unique, but also people are struggling and they're willing to pay for that, to get the help that they need. And it's an expectation. I don't go to my doctor without expecting to pay them in some form or fashion, either through my insurance or whatever. And also pay them on the front end. They want to know where their money's coming from before even walk in the office. So, I mean, so people are used to that. And I don't think we need to put a lot of judgment on that.
Absolutely not. I actually think it's something to celebrate, because when a client chooses to come to you and to invest in themselves and the results of their work with you, they're not only saying they trust you or they're willing to put their trust in you, but they're also honoring themselves and the need that they have. They don't always see it that way, but I look at like, yay for you. Look at what you're doing for yourself. That's fantastic.
Right.
So let's just claim that and not shrink from it, because it really is. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And worth celebrating. Yeah.
So we've kind of talked around this a little bit, but which pillar do you think most people struggle with? Would you say it's the money?
Yeah, it's very much so, because I see people who are great at coming up with ideas about how to serve their clients. And all of it, I've seen people get fuzzy about all of it. Like in terms of process, that's like boundaries around your time, how you manage phone calls, how you manage the administrative side of your business. I've coached people who were seeing clients at 8:00 in the morning and 9:00 at night and on Sunday afternoons and like all over the place. I've worked with people who were charging one client $50, somebody else $85, somebody else $150, somebody else $200. It's crazy and scattered. So that's sort of a systemic issue, but it always comes back to our belief system about ourselves and the value of the work we do. And just trusting, like, if I don't believe in myself, if I don't think I'm worth paying this, then why should you? So there's so many ways we trip ourselves up around this.
Right.
So many ways.
Yeah. And I think about a lot of it too is we are afraid people won't like us if we ask for money. Yeah.
It undervalues the work. Yeah. I don't care if you have an insurance-based practice or self-pay or a blend. Like, to me, the whole point of an ideal practice is that you are doing your practice it's ideal for you, whatever that looks like. Yeah. But even if you've got insurance, so I don't do that. I have a self-pay practice now, but I ran a full, crazy, over-the-top insurance-based practice for 20 plus years. And I was terrible at it because there were so many games to play around the insurance. But even if you're going to do that, do it well. Collect your copays up front, stay on top of it, or hire somebody like Jeremy that you and I both know.
Right.
Like, find somebody to do the work for you and make, even if you delegate that work to somebody, it's still your duty as the owner of this company. You are the CEO of your own show. You have to know what your numbers are, and you have to know what your clients owe you. I had a therapist colleague of mine once that was working, her practice was brand new and she was trying to learn all this stuff and figuring it out. And she told me once, I don't really want to know what people owe me because I'm afraid I will resent them and it will impact my work with them. So she was kind of doing the whole, I don't see it. I don't know this. I don't hear. Right. Now she's gotten better. She didn't do that anymore. But for those first couple of years, and I'm like, do you not think they're thinking about it? Right. They are. So treat them with respect and say, let's talk about money. Yeah. Let's have that conversation.
Yeah. And I think too, when you move into group practice, is having conversations with your clinicians about that issue as well, because a lot of that, depending on how you've got your processes set up. I know in my practice, a lot of times our intake coordinator is not there in the building, and she usually collects, when people come in, but if they're not there, then the therapist needs to collect. And so coaching them through that process about how to do it in a way that they're comfortable with. And I tell people all the time that when you're asking for money, a simple way to do this is just simply say to the client, your bill is this amount. How would you like to take care of this?
How would you like to take care of this?
And then just be quiet.
Yep.
And don't say anything else. And they will usually offer something, and then you can kind of work your way through that at that point.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's great, Gordon. I also have suggested that to people, like that question. How would you like to take care of your copay today?
Yeah.
How would you like to take care of your payment today? Because there's an assumed answer in there that you are going to take care of it.
Right.
There's an assumed yes.
Exactly.
And do it at the beginning of the session, not at the end. Because by the end, you're into all the emotional stuff, and you've already got other things to deal with at that point. So get it out. And I used to say, let's get the red tape out of the way first. How would you like to pay today? I would do that as soon as they walked in and sat down.
Yeah.
You also you said, so sometimes your intake coordinator collects payment, but sometimes your clinicians do. Do you find that that's hard for them to actually handle money, whether it's digital or whether it's somebody handing them a check? Do they struggle with that at all?
Well, again, one of the things too, you're going back to the systems and processes that you have in place.
Yeah.
Is the majority of our clients, we have a credit card on file. So, I mean, that makes it easy for the clinician, and all you have to say is, I'll add your copay to the card you have on file.
Yep. And somewhere along the way, that card won't work anymore. Yeah. Or something goes wrong, and you have to have
that conversation as well.
Right.
But it's,
I'll tell you a funny. Let me tell you a funny story about this. The reason I asked that question is because when I started my practice back in the day, I had come from a residential treatment center where I was the director of family therapy, and somebody else dealt with that business stuff, and I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to help those kids, right?
Right.
So I took that attitude with me into private practice, and it was just me in the beginning. And when people would say to me, like, how do I pay you today? They would ask me, how do I pay you? And I'd be like, just drop it in that box at the end of the hall. Like, I had a little wooden box nailed to the wall with a slit in the top. And I would say, on your way out, just drop and they was, well, what do I owe you? I don't really know. I haven't got that figured out yet. Just whatever you think is best. I literally did not want to touch a check or cash. And you know what I did at the end of the day? I ran into that box and opened the lid to see how much money I had there.
All right.
Terrible, terrible way to start a business. But I mean, that was a very long time ago. I'm not that person today, but it hurts my heart and also cracks me up to think about that, which is why I'm so tuned into this with people today. Because there's lots of ways we do that same thing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, Wendy, I guess we need to be respectful of each other's time. And I know we could spend all day talking about all these things, and I'm really grateful to you for the work that you're doing. So tell folks how they can get in touch with you. And you said you had a freebie for people that if they're interested in it.
If it's okay, it's not a freebie. It's actually a little paid course, but it's it's little.
Good.
So sort of modeling what I teach here. So because mindset is such a big deal, I actually have it's a sweet little mindset course. It's called Mind Over Money. And what it is every day you get a little bit of inspiration, a little lesson in your inbox. It takes 5 minutes to either read it, or I've got it on audio if you want to hear it. It's great to do while you're walking the dog in the morning. 5 minutes worth of just a shift in perspective about how to think about abundance. And it's like a daily drop of that.
Okay.
Normally it's $97, but for your listeners in particular, if they go to that, when they register and use the promo code Gordon, they will get $50 off of that. So it's just $47.
Okay.
The way you get that is go to my website, wendypittsreeves.com/mind, because it's mind over money, /mind, and use the promo code Gordon to get it basically half price, $47.
Awesome.
And people like it. I have people tell me they hate it when it ends because it becomes kind of like a daily meditation almost in a way.
Right. Yeah, that sounds great. And we'll have links in the show notes and the show summary for people to access it.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So check it out, folks. And Wendy, I'm sure we will be having more conversations in the future and
I hope
sharing with
so.
all the listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gordon. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if ideal practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.